Good morning, Miss Bateman.
Good day, Stanley.
Did you sleep well, Miss Bateman?
Not really. I have the rather queer recollection of a cat entering my room last night.
A cat, you say?
Yes, an odd-looking grey one. I must have been dreaming, as I locked the door and windows before I went to sleep. I saw a similar cat in the lavatories while searching for Mr. Tillett.
Ah, Herbert. Oh, he's a harmless thing. He comes in now and then searching for scraps.
Indeed. Seeing him in the lavatories must have conjured up the strange dream.
The mind is capable of manifesting frightful things, Miss Bateman. I'm happy to report the rain of yesterday has lifted. It's a clear morning outside. Crisp. I've prepared a room for your assistant. What time will he be arriving today?
His train will get in around midday. Kenneth will also be bringing my excavation equipment.
Oh, aye. What does that entail?
Picks, shovels, buckets, lighting and such. He usually packs it in a large crate. Come to think of it, I'll need somewhere to store it.
You're welcome to use the alley behind the inn for any such bulky items.
Is it safe to do such a thing?
I can assure you the local folk are not thieves, Miss Bateman.
That's not what I...
Now, say nothing more of it.
Thank you, Stanley.
I'll let you get on with your day.
I'll be back with my assistant when he arrives.
Miss Bateman?
Yes?
I've something I wish to get off my chest, as it were. I've been tossing and turning all night, Miss Bateman. I feel rotten, I really do.
What on earth are you talking about?
As you know, I like to run an honest establishment. And well, I have not been honest with you, lass. I do know of Hobbs Barrow.
You do?
I do. Many here do. There are stories tied to that place, you know. If I've learned anything in this life, it's that some stones are best left unturned. Old Leonard Shoulder is someone to be wary of too. I can't tell you what to do, lass, but you'd best avoid him.
Why lie to me about Hobbs Barrow?
I know, lass, I know. I feel dreadful.
But why? What are these stories you speak of?
I really can't tell you more. If you insist on visiting that place, you'll have to seek out Mr. Shoulder. He brought you here. He should be the one to tell you.
I must say, Mr. Kemp, this is all quite puzzling. I've never let local superstitions stop me in the past. I pride myself on being a woman of logic and reason. I've no time to waste on such matters.
As I say, seek out Mr. Shoulder. He can tell you more.
Why must I be wary of Mr. Shoulder?
The man has a certain reputation.
For what?
You've seen it already. Were he here to meet you last night?
No.
Precisely. A man not to be trusted.
Where is Hobbs Barrow?
I don't know. I say that on my mother's grave, Miss Bateman.
I now find that hard to believe.
The moors are vast, lass. I'd tend not to go wandering out there. A grown man could lose himself and not be seen again.
Where does Mr. Shoulder live?
I can't say for sure. As I think I told you last night, he's a quiet man and keeps to himself. He only comes in here to collect his post. Leads me to believe he lives a fair distance away. Certainly not in the village itself.
Might someone around Bewley be able to help me find him?
You could ask around. As I say, lass, Bewley folk mean well. Don't forget that.
I shall return later.
Good day to you, lass.
It seems I may be fighting a battle against some sort of local superstition. Is there a single barrow in England that doesn't have some ghastly tale attached to it? Hogwash. All of it. I have a few hours until Kenneth arrives. I should use this time to find Mr. Shoulder. He looks like a rather shady character. Hello? My name is Thomasina, and you are?
Now then, that's none of your concern, love.
What do you do around here?
Hey up, you're not scared of sticking your neb in. I look after the churchyard, dig the graves. Ha!
What can you tell me about the church?
Aye, it's a church.
Quite. Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
I don't know out about no Leonard Shoulder.
What can you tell me about Hobbs Barrow?
Not to be found digging around in those things.
You know of local barrows, then?
Don't concern yourself.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
Not much around here, love. Not worth mentioning to you, like.
I see. Goodbye.
Ta-ra.
Hello.
Yes?
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Douglas?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Douglas. That's a great sword technique you have.
Thanks, miss. Mr. Crozier's gonna make me a real one when I turn 12. I'm preparing myself to fight the lantern worm.
What is the lantern worm?
It's gonna come back and get us all. John Lantern thought he killed it at the River Ware, but my father told me it still lives. We must all be prepared.
The lantern worm isn't real, Douglas. Father just told you that to get you out of his hair.
Not true. I saw it slithering out by the beck. Like a giant eel it were. I ran home so fast I thought I would fly.
Sorry, miss. My brother has a vivid imagination.
Children often do at his age.
I'll keep training. You will all thank me when I thrust my sword deep into its fat belly.
Douglas, this lady doesn't want to hear your nonsense.
Do you like living in Bewley?
Yeah, I do. Are you from the city?
I'm from a long way away.
You must have come on the train. I love watching all the steam puff up into the sky.
Have you been on the train yourself?
No, miss. Our parents don't have the money for train tickets. Father says we have all we need here in Bewley.
Perhaps this nice lady would like to take you away with her on the train.
No, I need to stay and protect Bewley from the lantern worm.
Do you know a man called Leonard Shoulder?
That's a funny name.
Have you heard of Hobbs Barrow?
What's that?
A local burial mound.
Our parents don't let us wander far from the village.
What's a burial mound?
Don't you mind about that, Douglas.
Who's Mr. Crozier?
He's a blacksmith. His forge is just over there on the other side of the square.
Don't you think 12 years of age is a little young for a real sword?
I'll be a master swordsman by then.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, miss.
Good day.
Hello, miss.
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Betty.
Nice to meet you, Betty. What are you up to?
My brother is practicing his sword fighting technique. I'm to watch him until he tires himself out.
I'm tireless.
This time last month it were all about his teaspoon collection. This month it's swords.
Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
Our parents don't like us talking to strangers, miss.
So you know of it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye, miss.
The blacksmith is toiling away. Good day.
Yes?
Mr. Crozier, I presume.
Aye, George Crozier, at your service.
My name is Thomasina.
Aye, can I help you?
Are you a Bewley native, Mr. Crozier?
Aye, born and bred. That's where my father's forge before mine.
How is business faring?
I do an honest trade. There'll always be horses needing shoes and farmers needing tools. You let me know if you need out made or mended. I'll do you a fair price.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. Do you know a man by the name of Leonard Shoulder?
Oh, aye, old Leonard.
Have you seen him recently?
No, not recently.
Do you know where he lives?
Why all these questions, lass?
I need to speak with him. He invited me to Bewley.
Oh, he'll turn up. I've seen him in the plough and furrow from time to time.
But do you know where he lives? I need to find him.
I believe he lives somewhere out on the moors. Can't tell you out more than that.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. Do you know of a local landmark named Hobbs Barrow?
There's a fair many barrows found out on the moors, lass. Too many to put a name to. Not a soul in Bewley pays them any mind.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
We don't get many visitors here, outside of market days. But there's plenty of work for the village blacksmith. Where are you from, then?
I arrived yesterday on the train from London, by way of Derby.
Oh, aye. I've heard about London.
What have you heard?
Plenty of factories there.
Yes, indeed. The city is always changing and moving forward.
Too busy for me, though, lass. I prefer a quieter pace. Aye.
When do market days run in Bewley?
Once or twice a month. The next one is tomorrow.
How delightful.
Unless your vice is cabbages, there'll be naught to interest a young lady.
I don't mind a cabbage.
Then you're in luck.
Thanks for your time.
Aye. Speak to you later.
Hello.
Good day. Would you like to buy one of these cakes, pet?
Yes, I'd like to buy a cake.
Wonderful. I can tell you're not from around here, because if you were, you would know about my Bakewell puddings. They are quite famous.
Curses. I have no more money.
That's unfortunate, pet. I'm sorry. I can't give them away for free. The money goes to the church, you see, and one cannot shirk one's duty to the church.
I understand. My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Mrs. de Plancy.
A pleasure to meet you, Mrs. de Plancy.
Likewise, pet.
Tell me about yourself, Mrs. de Plancy.
About me? What would you possibly want to know about me? I've been attending St. Edmund's Church my whole life. I always want to help where I can, so I sell my baked goods and all the proceeds go to its upkeep. This place means so much to me.
Your cakes look delicious.
I can assure you they are. You'll not find better in the entire county.
What can you tell me about St. Edmund's Church?
Isn't it the finest building? It's been standing here since the 12th century. The box pews in the nave are very fine and date back to the 17th century. The door is open if you'd like to worship.
Thank you, Mrs. de Plancy. Do you know a local man called Leonard Shoulder?
Yes, I know Leonard. What business do you have with him?
It's a long story, but I'm trying to find where he lives.
I'm afraid I don't know, dear. Father Roach has access to the parish register. He might be able to help you.
What can you tell me about Father Roach?
He is a lovely man and an exemplary servant of the Lord. He's been the vicar of St. Edmund's for many years.
Where can I find Father Roach?
At this time of day, he'll be taking his exercise in Herne Wood, to the west of the village.
Thank you. I'll go find him.
Be sure to listen out for his merry whistling. Such a jolly man.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
Hobbs what?
Hobbs Barrow, a local burial mound.
The only place of burial I know about and care for is in this very churchyard.
Thank you for your time.
Lord be with you.
Excuse me, do you think anyone would mind if I borrowed this trowel?
You help yourself, dear. Father Roach won't mind lending it. Just be sure to put it back when you're finished.
Of course, thank you.
It is more blessed to give than to receive.
Goodness me, look at these box pews. I've never seen any as tall as that before. Most unusual architecture, even for the Normans. Someone has left a necklace hanging here. A silver cross. Sterling by the look of it. Maybe I can reunite it with its owner.
Very sorry. Oh, the shame. This malaise will not pass. Oh, the nausea. I need your help, young lady.
Tell me what you need.
Let the blood from my arm.
Excuse me?
Cut me. I beg you.
Ouch! The broken lens is extremely sharp. This handkerchief was a gift from my mother. I hope she will understand. This should work. Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yes, it will cure me of my ills.
I shall do as you ask, Father.
Thank the Lord for my spare pair. God bless you. I already feel quite better.
I'm glad, Father.
The rapid healing properties of bloodletting cannot be overstated. I'm Frederick Roach, vicar of St. Edmund's Church.
My name is Thomasina Bateman. It's a pleasure to meet you. Are you feeling better?
Yes, thank you.
What ails you, Father Roach?
I just ate a rotten berry, that's all. I like to pick blackberries for my supper, you see. They are quite delicious, as long as you mind the bramble. My apologies again. I wish we had met in different circumstances.
Are you from Bewley originally?
I was born in our very own St. Edmund's. It's quite the story.
Do tell.
My mother was sheltering there as a frightful tempest raged. And lo, did her waters break right there and then in that pew.
One could say that you were born into your role, Father.
Indeed. When my mother told me the story as a young boy, I knew that this was my calling.
St. Edmund's is a fine building.
Thank you for saying so. It's hard work keeping her in good shape, but our congregation is always willing to lend a hand in the Lord's name.
What is it like being the vicar here?
Every day is a blessing, my child. I have a great love for our parish, and the Lord looks after us.
What about your congregation?
Numbers have fallen over the years, I must say. But those that remain are faithful and full of His Spirit.
I'm looking for Mr. Leonard Shoulder.
Oh, yes? Are you a relative?
No, it's a long story, but he invited me to Bewley.
And he didn't tell you his address?
He was to meet me last night at the Plough and Furrow, but he never came.
I see. Well, let me welcome you to Bewley on his behalf.
Thank you, Father. Do you know where Mr. Shoulder lives?
Let me think. It's been many moons since I've paid him a visit.
Perhaps you could allow me to take a look at the parish register.
No need. I remember it now. A fair hike across the moors.
Could you please give me directions?
I'll take you there myself. It's the least I can do after you aided me so.
Capital. Thank you.
Just let me know when you're ready to pay him a visit. I'll be resting here for the time being.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
I can't say I've heard of it.
It's supposedly a famous local landmark.
I'm afraid I know nothing about it.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
It's a quiet town. The railway line, which I presume you arrived by, is the only news of note we've had here for years.
I've heard the new station has received a mixed reaction.
I've heard many a debate, it's true. But my role is not to adjudicate on that matter. I'm very busy in my own work, you see.
I'm ready to go to Mr. Shoulder's house.
Excellent. I feel the fresh air will do me well. Follow me.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Mrs. Duplancy. Mrs. Duplancy, this is Thomasina Bateman, a visitor to our parish.
We've already had the pleasure of meeting, Father.
Excellent. Miss Bateman, don't hesitate to try one of Mrs. Duplancy's wonderful cakes.
Yes, I've heard about her famous Bakewell puddings.
I'll be here all day, young lady. But remember, once they're gone, they're gone. Those little whelps have already gobbled up all the gingerbread.
You are doing God's work, Mrs. Duplancy.
He smiles upon us, Father.
Miss Bateman, if you'd like to follow me. Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills.
Shakespeare?
Quite. Which play?
Hamlet?
Magnificent guess, Miss Bateman, but I'm afraid that passage is from Richard II. Studying the work of the bard is one of my favourite pastimes. Follow me. Behold, the vast expanse of God's creation. The moors extend as far as the mortal eye can see. Beautiful, is it not?
Indeed, the moors are beautiful.
The beauty of God's creation is that it takes so many forms. How can one take in such a view and not have faith? Some look at these moors and think this a godless land. But I tell you, he is found in all domains. The Lord's work is all about us. Tell me, Miss Bateman, do you believe in God?
I was brought up Anglican. The church was an important part of my early life, Father Roach. But what happened to my father eventually made me question things.
If you don't mind me asking, my child, what happened to your father?
He had an accident when I was very young.
Come along now, Thomasina. Let's get out of the rain. Remember what I told you, all right? Be a good girl. People are unwell here. They don't want to hear you running about making noise. Understood?
Yes, Mother.
Good. And don't annoy the nurses.
I promise I won't.
Good. Now, let's see your father.
Daddy, wake up! Mummy? Mummy?
Good evening, Mr. Bateman. Hello, little one. You must be Thomasina?
Yes.
My name is Nurse Blaketon. I just need to talk to your mummy for a little bit. I'm sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Bateman. Mrs. Bateman?
Will he ever talk again, Nurse Blaketon?
The doctor is uncertain, Mrs. Bateman. There is the possibility that Mr. Bateman won't regain any movement at all. But we will do our utmost to look after Mr. Bateman here at Ticehurst Manor. He will have a nurse by his side at all times, I can assure you.
What sort of god would allow this fate to befall such a kind and honest man?
I'm sorry to hear this. God moves in mysterious ways, but he loves us all. Come along now.
Hello? She scampered off in a hurry. Who was that?
Some primitive folk make their home out on the moors. I suggest you keep your wits about you when you are exploring, and don't stray too far from Bewley.
I see. How much farther to Mr. Shoulder's house?
Still quite a walk, I'm afraid, but we'll get to him soon enough. Now then, take a look at this. Legend has it that this cairn has stood here for over 1,000 years.
How remarkable.
The Devil's Toe.
I beg your pardon?
That's what it's called. The Devil's Toe.
Oh, I see.
Come now, onward.
We walked and walked across that vast, featureless landscape. All the while, Father Roach was whistling away merrily. Just as I had begun to wonder if we were hopelessly lost, a building emerged from the mist. Mr. Shoulder's cottage.
Here we are, Miss Bateman. Unless my memory fails me
Thank you for your help, Father Roach.
Now, no need to thank me after your providential assistance today. However, I have something to ask you.
Yes?
Please don't tell Mrs. de Plancy about my little scene in the woods. She will only fret. The poor dear woman has enough on her mind as it is.
I shan't mention it.
Thank you. You'd better see if Mr. Shoulder is in.
A carved stone has been affixed to the door. I think it depicts a crescent moon. Father, what do you make of this?
A peculiar adornment. I've not seen any like this in Bewley, though it does remind me of a passage by the bard himself. It is the very error of the moon. She comes nearer earth than she was wont, and makes men mad.
Othello?
Precisely, Miss Bateman. 1 out of 2, Miss Bateman.
Mr. Shoulder? Is Thomasina Bateman here? I'm here in Bewley as discussed.
Maybe try again. His hearing probably isn't the best at his age. No sign of life?
None. The window is nice and clean. The dwelling is by no means abandoned. That glove looks familiar. I wonder if it matches the glove I found behind the plough and furrow. The gloves are a pair. Does this mean Mr. Shoulder was in the alley last night? Why didn't he come inside to see me? A woolen undergarment. A sweet little hen, plump and well groomed. I've only just got here. Mr. Shoulder, are you home? It appears Mr. Shoulder is not at home. Curses.
Perhaps you could try the handle?
It's locked.
Perhaps he's gone for a stroll.
Possibly.
I'd suggest you call back later, my child. I myself must make my way back home. I have some matters to attend to at the church. Shall I accompany you back to Bewley?
Let's go.
As I say, my child, Mr. Shoulder will make himself known. Do not lose faith.
I'm rather frustrated by this situation.
Now. Things move at a slower pace out here. Something you may not be so accustomed to. Come now, Miss Bateman.
Well, Mr. Shoulder, you've brought me to Bewley, and now you're nowhere to be found. As we trudged silently back to Bewley across those cold moors, I made a new resolution. I would find Hobbs Barrow myself, with or without Mr. Shoulder. The train! That must be Kenneth.
Kenneth?
My assistant.
I see. Well, Miss Bateman, I really must attend to some other matters. I hope Mr. Shoulder finds his way to you.
Thank you for your help, Father Roach.
My pleasure. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Romeo and Juliet?
Correct. That I shall say good night till it be morrow. Lord be with you.
I should go meet Kenneth at the station. The Devil's Toe, a local landmark. The trousers feel damp, freshly hung, or still wet from last night's rain. Where is Kenneth? He was supposed to wait for me at the station. Well, that's one mystery solved. It's Arthur Tillett. What's he doing in there? Mr. Tillett, where did you go last night?
Have we met?
Last night at the Plough and Furrow.
Oh, Miss Bateman. I were blind drunk last night and woke up with a stinking headache.
You still smell like a brewery.
Sorry.
You went to use the lavatory and never came back, Mr. Tillett. I searched everywhere for you.
I think I remember you bought me a drink. Then it's all a blur. I woke up in my bed this morning with my wife sour at me for waking her at some ungodly hour.
About last night. What were you going to tell me about Leonard Shoulder?
Who?
Leonard Shoulder. You told me you knew him. And promised to tell me more if I bought you a drink. Which I did. So what were you going to tell me?
I don't really know the old bugger.
But you said you did.
Oh, aye. No, I know naught about him. No, naught about Leonard Shoulder.
You're hiding something, Mr. Tillett. I don't believe you.
I say a lot of things when I've got the drink in me. I probably just wanted you to buy me an ale.
A likely story.
Look, what would I gain from lying to you? I just wanted another drink.
Even if that's the case, it doesn't explain your disappearance.
Aye, I don't remember out.
So you work here?
Aye, Bewley's station master at your service. Would you like to buy a ticket?
Not just yet, thank you. I understand that some of the locals are not too happy about this new station.
Aye, I'd go as far as saying the whole village.
How long has the station been open for?
About 3 months. We're on the Midland Railway line. This employment's been a saviour for me. If I weren't stood here, I'd be drinking my life away at the pub right now. It's worth the occasional withering look from Cyril and the rest of them.
I'm looking for my assistant, Kenneth.
Oh, aye?
His train has arrived.
Not a single soul disembarked the last train, Miss Bateman.
Impossible. Was that not the midday train from London by way of Derby?
Aye, it were. Mr. Price were here, unloaded a few crates.
But no Kenneth.
Not a soul. Hold on. One of them crates had your name on it, Miss Bateman. A great big one it were, with...
A red ribbon.
Aye.
What is Kenneth playing at, sending my equipment but not himself? Curses. Where is my crate now?
Mr. Price took away all the crates on his cart.
Who?
Mr. Price. He's the postmaster.
Where can I find Mr. Price?
He lives above the storeroom, just north of the plough and furrow. You'll see it. There's a Royal Mail plaque on the wall.
Thank you. I'm looking for Hobbs Barrow.
Hobbs Barrow.
It's why Leonard Shoulder invited me to Bewley. He thought I might like to excavate it.
Oh, aye. I heard about a Hobbs Barrow somewhere out there. There's some old stories around it.
What stories?
I can't remember.
Mr. Tillett, please, this is important.
I'm awfully sorry, Miss Bateman. I'll try to remember. If he invited you here, then I'm sure Mr. Shoulder will tell you all about it.
That's if I ever get to meet him.
I'm sure you will.
Farewell for now.
Ta-ra!
Good day to you, Cyril.
I'll do, lass.
What are you up to, Cyril?
Keeping an eye on that bleeding railway station. That's what. Thankfully, no one got off the last train.
Really hate that station, don't you?
Oh, I curse Midland Railway for bringing their damn line through Bewley. This is our town, our land. 'Tis no place for outsiders.
So you keep saying.
Anyway, no more trains today. Almost time to celebrate with an ale, I think.
I could do with one myself.
You paying?
No. I found Mr. Shoulder's house today, but he wasn't home.
Why the bleeding hell should I care, lass?
I'm looking for Hobbs Barrow. Do you know where it is?
Mind your own business, lass.
You really are quite helpful, aren't you?
Bah.
Goodbye.
Ta-ra, lass.
That must be the postmaster's storeroom. Hello.
Good day. I haven't seen you in Bewley before.
I'm just visiting.
Lovely. It's nice to see a new face. We don't get many visitors. My name's Henry. Henry Long.
Nice to meet you, Henry. Thomasina Bateman.
Wonderful. What a treat.
You seem in a good mood, Mr. Long.
It's just lovely to see a new face. Where are you from, Miss Bateman?
Originally a small town on the outskirts of Derby, Mr. Long, though I currently reside in London.
London? I've never met anyone from London. How very exciting. Have you lived there a long time?
It's been quite a few years now, yes.
I've heard that the air there is so heavy with smoke, it makes it hard to breathe. Is that true?
Some days.
Oh, you must miss the fresh northern air. Well, you've got that in Bewley. No factories out here. Such things are a blight on his creation. I were born in this very home I stand in front of. Bewley is in my blood. Why would I ever want to leave? Especially now I can meet new folk thanks to the railway line.
I'm looking for Mr. Price, the postmaster.
Oh, Mr. Price, my lovely neighbour. I'm afraid you've just missed him.
Curses.
I saw him wheeling a large crate into his storeroom just there.
It must be mine. I really need it.
Have a look through the window to see if it's yours.
Where did Mr. Price go?
I don't know. The man were in a hurry. I know he has family in Bakewell.
That's miles away. Did he leave by foot?
No, by horse. He must be a few miles down the road by now.
Curses. When will Mr. Price be back?
He didn't say. Could be tonight, could be a few days.
How infuriating.
I told him I'd keep watch of his storeroom, and I'm a man of my word, Miss Bateman. I shall not budge from this spot.
Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
Aye, funny old fellow. I hear he lives way out on the moors somewhere.
Have you seen him recently?
No, not for a long while now that you mention it. Why do you ask?
It's a long story, but I was to meet him in Bewley. He invited me here.
Well, I must thank him when I see him for inviting such an enchanting young woman.
You flatter me, Mr. Long. I'm looking for Hobbs Barrow.
One of those old burial hills?
Yes. Do you know where it is?
Believe it or not, I haven't set foot on the moor since I were a child.
Why is that?
I've got all I need right here in Bewley. And we are all truly blessed with the railway station, which brings us lovely new faces.
Your opinion of the railway station differs widely from your fellow townsfolk, Mr. Long. I've not met anyone particularly keen on it.
That railway line is the start of a new era for Bewley, mark my words. There's much to protect here, but we need new blood. I hope that some of you visitors will actually stay here permanently.
Why is that?
So I have new friends to talk to. Some people here don't want any new friends. Cyril Farnaby, the miserable old sod, is the worst offender.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Cyril. He really dislikes the railway station.
Absolutely miserable he is. I've tried to convince him many times that the station will help Bewley. He just doesn't understand.
I met him last night in the Plough and Furrow.
Aye, the scene of our many debates. Blimey, I could go for an ale right now, actually.
Can I buy you a drink?
Really?
No. Wait. Do you think Mr. Kemp will let me open a tap?
Perhaps. You could always ask him. I shouldn't leave anyway. Mr. Price is relying on me to keep watch of his storeroom.
Goodbye.
Don't be a stranger.